The topic today is how to become yes. So are you ready to go on a little journey with me this morning? Okay. That's just what I do. Okay, we have been learning this month the 5 things we cannot change and the happiness we find by embracing them, by David Rico. The 5 things are: everything changes and ends. Things do not always go according to plan. Life is not always fair. Pain is part of life, and people are not loving and loyal all the time. Now, how many of you have been saying yes to change this month? See any hands? And Gay hasn't been giving us homework? So anyways, my next question is, if it is yes, how many of you done it with grace? And how many of you been doing it with kicking and screaming? Which is probably the most natural way. So a quote from Wayne Dyer: change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. God has given us choice. When we can choose pain, or we can choose compassion. We can choose anger, or we can choose forgiveness. We can choose sadness, or we can choose joy. Turmoil or peace. Judgment or acceptance. Separation or oneness. Hate or love. There was a time in our life that all of us only knew that until now. It's not that we don't experience pain and anger, sadness, judgment, separation, or hate, or we can say strongly dislike if hate feels too harsh. We may have experienced these in the past, sometimes in the present, and we may experience them in the future. It is important to remember, we are here as a spiritual being, experiencing through a human existence. Our human self is this vehicle through which our whole self is revealed. God has given us the gift of life, the choice to grow, to learn and remember who we are. And the truth is that we are every quality that God is. Yes, that one power, that one presence, that one heart, the joy, the love, the peace, the wholeness, and abundance. Not in the future, but now. We are constantly remembering that there's only one life, that life is good, and that life is God. And that is present in our life right here and right now. Because wherever we are, God is with us. No matter what we're going through, God is with us. Our topic this morning is how to become yes. So when we say yes to life, we release this resistance to being stuck, because that's what it feels like. We can't move forward. We don't know what to do. We get all turned around, mixed up. So what does fear stand for? False evidence appearing real. And this fear, what it does, it tries to control our life and take a hold of us. Doesn't want us to move forward. Doesn't want us to grow. So what we must do is we must trust and know that no matter what we're going through, that we're going to be okay. Even though it doesn't seem like it at the time. So fear is to be afraid of life. And but not experiencing this life fully, what it does, it prevents us from living in the very moment. And also prevents us from living in peace. I want to tell you a little story about change. Years and years ago, I went to a retreat in Maui with a group of friends. And every day we would, maybe about 20 of us, we would work on maybe love or fear or relationships or something. So at breakfast, our leader said, today we're going to work on fear. So, okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to drive to this location. We're going to climb up this cliff. We're going to step out on the edge of the cliff. And we're going to jump down 35 feet. Now, he could have told us this after breakfast, but he didn't. So, of course, there was no breakfast for me. So all the drive there, I'm thinking, oh my God. I came to Maui on a vacation. I came to have a good time. I did not come to Maui to die, to jump off this cliff and die. So we get there and we climb, literally have to hold on here and climb and climb and climb and climb and climb till we all got to the top, got to look down. And not only did you have to jump off, but because it was rocks down there, you had to step off on this kind of little ledge, and then not to forget to lock down, and then just jump. So the first person, the third person, the 15th person, everyone went, and there still I am, way back here. Not me. So my wonderful leader said to me, Mary Kay, I know you. I know you, and I know that if you go back to San Diego and you don't do this jump, you will regret it. And he was right. He said, don't think about it. Get out of your head. When I say go, go up there, get a thing, lock down, and go. So I did. I stepped out on the cliff, I locked down, and went down. Down, 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 down. Now, the water was mucky, round, so it wasn't like clear like the ocean. So my fear was that, oh my God, what's under there? What am I going to get? What's going to get me, right? And I came up, and I was enjoying screaming, swimming all the way to the end. Oh my God, I did it. I was yelling, screaming. And that's kind of what we go through in life. Some are little jumps, some are big jumps. So what this experience did for me, it literally changed my life of how I went through change. Because when changes came, mostly large ones, I would remember the jump on the cliff. I'd remember the fear. So the part of me, the body did not die. But what did die was my fear. And I use this experience all the time. So now when I go through fear, I remember jumping off the cliff, and I say, jump. So Rico, in his books, says, there is a vitality in us, a sparkle, a bonfire that cannot be extinguished by any one tragedy. Something in us, an urge towards wholeness, a passion of evolving, makes us go on, start over, and not give in. To accept the things we cannot change doesn't mean we roll over, but that we roll on. To accept the things we cannot change leaves us to a place of we can have openness, we can be creative, resourcefulness happens synchronously each time we are confronted with one of the givens. Some people write their best poems, best music, create beautiful art when they're going through suffering. So let us build some strength. It's like kind of building that body muscle. But what we're going to do is we're going to build a muscle of compassion, of peace, oneness, forgiveness, unity, and love. How do we do this? By each day taking this time to meditate, to pray, journal. And then we can also have sessions with a practitioner or a minister. If we have a hard time going through something ourselves and have that stuckness, what is it? What is it? And then we have these wonderful classes here at the center to take. And they will change your life if you allow it. So what happens with these classes is they reveal this true part of ourselves, this part that we doubt, this part that we don't realize we can go deeper and deeper. Growth does not stop. It continues no matter where we are, no matter how long we've been in this teaching. It's like starting in a big hotel of 25 floors, and we start on the first floor and maybe we go to the second and the third. Then maybe we're going through some challenge and stuff, and what we do, we may drop down to the second floor. And then we continue again and we go up. Maybe we get to the sixth floor. Wow, we drop down to the fifth floor. Maybe the fourth floor. What do? We forget. Forget who we are. We forget to ask help. We forget to call the minister. We forget to take the classes. We forget, are we praying each day and meditating? All of us, including me. So what happens when we use these tools is that we deepen our consciousness and we move from this place of duality to oneness. Remembering again that we're never alone. So as I'm speaking here today, I'm sure all of you can relate to a change, either in the past or something maybe you're going through right now. Maybe you're going through some pain and fear and discomfort. Maybe some disappointment. Maybe some place where someone's unfair with you. Maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's a loss of a loved one or a friend. So I'd like to share with you some of the challenges and fears that I've gone through in my life. Maybe you can relate, and I'm sure you have a list of your own. My sister and I went to the orphanage at the age of 5 and 8. Scary for a 5 and 8-year-old child, and all of a sudden your parents are both gone and you're in this place where you know no one, with the nuns and people yelling at you and hitting your hand and having you kneel in front of the cross if you were bad. What was wrong with me that my parents left us at this place? What decisions did I make about me when this happened to me? We were there a year. My mom could come and visit, leave for the longest time. Then she could take us out for the day and bring us back each time, not understanding. Then she could take us home for the weekend, way towards the end of the year. Then she finally got us out. My mom remarried to a man who had 6 kids. Yes, 6. 5 boys and a girl. So with my sister and I, what did that make? 8 kids. And I was the oldest overnight of 8 kids. That was a big change. I left home at 18 and left from Michigan to California, 3,000 miles away, and I'd never been away from home. But there was something in me, there was a small little voice within me that knew I was supposed to go with a girlfriend in high school. She said, oh, we all go there. My sister lives there, we all go there. So my mom gave me $125, a beautiful brand new, can you imagine this, red and white checkered coat to take to California. She had no idea. Out of the $125, my fare was $99. I had $26. And courage within me that I didn't even know about yet was there. I experienced going through a divorce when my kids were 6 and 7. Very, very scary to me. Didn't even know who I was. I mean, I knew I was married and had children, but I really didn't know inside who I was. They'd ask me questions or how I felt or what was going on. You know what? The only thing that I knew what to say? I don't know. I wasn't kidding. How do you feel? Went to a therapist. How do you feel? That's not a feeling word. I have a friend that goes to counseling, I told her, that has the sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11, and they have these circles on it, and underneath all these feelings are words. Do you have one of those for me? She says, oh, come on. So I stopped going to her, and I called my friend, and I said, you know that sheet? Can I get that sheet from you? I changed jobs several times. Quit. Changed. Afraid every time. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Each job got better and better. And then after the children left home, I always had a secure job. You know, we had benefits and everything for the kids. But then when they left home, I had this feeling. I went and got a massage one day. And I said, wow, these massage therapists have it made. They come in here, relax, close. They give a massage, the music's going, the candles are going. I want to do that. I want to do that. Come out, oh, I'll work this time and not this time. Da, 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 da. So I had that job there. I went to school and I became a massage therapist and then a yoga instructor. Very, very scary to me. How do you know when the income's going to be there or not? But I have loved it for 29 years and still doing it. I had a heart transplant about 4 years ago. Yes, scary, but here I am. And now after being single for 40 years, I'm engaged to be married. I have gone from fear, all the reasons why I shouldn't, couldn't, my home, this, that, over and over and over and over. And now I'm in excitement. And what I want you to know is that every single day, I thank God for this man. Because he is my mirror. So I have the unlimited opportunities to grow and to change and to be all I can be. See, God brought him into my life. During times of change is when we must really meet life with our faith and our trust. Remembering again that we are never alone. Having this faith and trust helps us to embrace change no matter how painful it may be. What we need to do is to surrender and recognize that God is with us always. Change is about growth, even though it certainly doesn't feel like it at the time we're going through it. A quote from Mary Morrissey, "To learn to live from the heart. It doesn't just change our feelings about life, it actually changes our life." I believe that God has a plan for us. Yes, we do have choices. But if we are willing to surrender to God's will and absolutely know we are on this glorious journey and we're choosing to serve and to love, to celebrate the truth of who we are, and know that we are unconditionally loved. Not just loved, but unconditionally. And we're accepted by God. No matter who we are, no matter what we're going through. Who only creates good because God is only good. We forget that about ourselves. We're better over in this list saying, this is wrong with me, this is wrong with me, I'm not smart enough, I can't do this. So saying yes frees us from suffering. Here are a few quotes from the Dalai Lama. "The more you are motivated by love, the more fearless and free your action will be. Someone else's action should not determine your response. Although you may not always be able to avoid difficult situations, you can modify the extent to which you suffer by how you choose to respond to the situation." But do we ever pause? A lot of times when something's happening, oh no, we feel that feeling, whatever it is, we don't take time to go through it, think about it, and we lash out. We run away. We pull back. We shut down. Change is not the natural, but necessary for the evolution of the human experience and for the world to move forward. If we stay stuck, how can we grow? How can this world grow? How can we heal? How can we create peace? So I want to ask you, how many of us are in touch with our feelings? Example, Rico states, we must feel safe to express our feelings. Do you notice that there's some people you feel more safe with than others to be able to go down deep when you're going through something? So how were your feelings handled when you were a child? Were you shamed? Were you ridiculed? Were you punished? Or just absolutely shut down? How many of us don't express ourselves due to the fear of either losing love or losing approval? I did it for years, and years, and years. Now it's like Terry Cole Whitaker says, what you think of me is none of my business. And you can use it with anyone, even your family. You don't have to say it to them, but we say it inside. So what happens is to be aware of our feelings that we have, and we're going through changes. It assists us. It assists us to have this tool to go into this place of feelings, try and figure out what it is. And we always think it's the other person, but most of the time it's us, right? Say yes to love. And so when you're going through change, what it does is it liberates us and it allows us to be fully present. Love is the essence of our true and deepest self. Fear of anger. It prevents us from displaying our deepest needs, our values, our wishes, and parts of our true self. The freedom we feel leads us to a fearless honesty. It opens that space for us to honestly talk about our feelings, going through our changes. Can't tell you how much I've had to go through this with Wes. But I had to have a safe place. I could have said, oh my God, what's he going to think of me if I share that? What's he going to think? He's going to leave. He's going to go find someone else. We both start doing it then. We got closer and closer. That's when that unconditional love comes in, right? So a mindful yes. See, there's a yes and then there's a mindful yes. And this means that we simply allow them to happen. We notice ourselves feeling them. And how many of us do stuff our feelings? And then what happens when we do that? Some people turn to drugs, food, alcohol, or some kind of addiction. A spiritual aware person loves going with the flow of life, feeling that all the life events and what comes up. Yes, yes, yes. Fear tries to control that life. We must know, absolutely know without a doubt, that we're going to be okay. The givens of life show us who we really are, and they help us to be the best we can be. So I loved these statements that Rico said in his book on page 104, in case you have that book and you want to read them again sometime. Only in changes and endings do we find out how we hold on or let go. Only in failed plans do we find out about a larger plan afoot that has our best interests at heart, trusting the heartfulness of the universe and discovering our true spiritual potential. Only when things are not fair do we find our dark side, which seeks retaliation, or our kindly side, which looks for restoration and lets go if it cannot happen. Only when we suffer do we find our courage and our depth and learn compassion and sufferings of others. Only when others are disloyal and unloving do we find out if we really can love unconditionally. The givens are experiences that we will face again and again. When we say yes to life, yes to the truth of I am, yes to accept others as they are, then the world becomes a better place for us to grow. And we dive deeper into that I am. We say yes to life, And the change by participating in our own evolution and working towards a life purpose. We don't even realize that we're here and we have a life purpose. Spiritual practice is deepening our sense of aliveness, which makes more of a loving presence in this world. And you notice that as people are changing and taking classes and growing, we become softer and more loving and more understanding and more patient. Gandhi said, "Our experience is that human beings live on. From this I infer that it is the law of love that rules mankind. And it gives me joy to go on trying to prove that." I loved it. Let's say yes and be thankful. When some of our changes become shifts into our higher consciousness, ask yourself, is my heart grand enough to accommodate all the powers that want to find me and work through me with change? Say to yourself, no matter what happens to me, I remain grounded and unswayed by fear. The events in life and the actions of others who impact me, but they do not impinge me. I remain secure within myself, and at the same time, I stay connected to others. Our identity is oneness, and our destiny is to act in accord with that oneness. The more we affirm that others matter as much as we do, the more we find our personal path and our purpose in life. Adult spirituality does not mean that we are on our own. It means I am never alone. Once our spiritual focus is on the unconditional yes to the givens of life, then we are saying yes to ourselves and yes to life. Yes to ourselves and yes to life. So I'd like to leave you with an insight of knowledge and wisdom. The knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. The wisdom is to know not to put it in a fruit salad. I must credit my son for that one. As I was doing my talk, he popped out of his bedroom and he said, "This has nothing to do with your talk, but I just want to share this with you." And I said, "I'm putting that in my talk." So I know that Reverend Gay usually gives us some home practice each week, so I thought maybe I'd put something together for you, and you can choose to do it or not. So this week, be aware when you choose to say yes to life regarding the 5 givens of the things that we cannot change. I want you to be still. I want you to take a few breaths. I want you to be fully present. I want you to be love. Remember who you are. Ask yourself, what is the truth? Be open to forgiveness. Remember, you're never alone. Come from your heart. Remember, change comes from compassion and love. Remember, change is not only natural, but necessary for the evolution of the human experience and for our world to move forward. Namaste. Have a great week.